Well, it's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, I'm sitting here in the Austin airport. It's a very nice airport. Killing time, and look, I have a lot of videos I'm going to do while I'm sitting here. And one of the videos I wanted to touch on because it was suggested that I do this video by my main man, 50 grand, Dundada. So shout out to Dundada, a very loyal viewer and a very loyal member of the Untouchable True School Sports Empire. Shout out to Dundada. He wanted me to touch on PBC representative Tim Smith recent comments about the Terence Crawford Errol Spence fight, and how the main thing that's preventing the fight from happening is economics. Now, there's a lot to unpack, and you know, it's unfortunate, man. Like, I really want to say this before I get into my points. It's really unfortunate that a lot of boxing executives, a lot of boxing promoters, a lot of fighters, they live in a fantasy world. Like, they're not reality. And I've told you guys many times, 2022 in boxing, we gotta set a new standard, and it will be the year of no excuses. It will be the year of no dishonor. And I have to check PBC, and I had to check Tim Smith on what he said, because he contradicted the living hell out of himself. So for those that know, for those that don't know, Tim Smith said that the biggest roadblock in the Errol Spence Terence Crawford fight from happening is economics, because he's saying that there's not enough money in the fight to make the Crawford fight happen and get both fighters what they want, so that the contract can be signed and the fight can be finalized. But in the same interview, not even 2 minutes into the damn interview, he also says that he's not involved in negotiations. So if you're not involved in negotiations, how the hell do you know what they want? You're making an inference, you're making an assumption, and you know the old saying about what they say about making assumptions. You're making an ass out of yourself out of making an assumption, Mr. Tim Smith. So, you know, that was contradiction number one that I saw. The second contradiction that I saw was that he stated that the reason that they're not going to make the fight happen is because the fans won't buy the fight and the fans won't support the fight. But meanwhile, you made Danny Garcia versus Errol Spence, and that wasn't a fight the fans asked for. You made the fight with Errol Spence, Mikey Garcia, and it did well. But it wasn't necessarily a fight that the fans asked for. The one fight with Spence that they keep asking about, the boxing fans and the people that care about the sport, and the one fight that will really get people excited is Crawford versus Spence. And you're saying that the fans are going to steal it and the fans are going to buy it and that they won't support it. But, I mean, shit. It's funny hearing this from a guy who works for PBC, because this is the same company. And listen, I got nothing bad to say about PBC. They treat me very well, but I'm just being honest. This is the same PBC that just put Luis Ortiz versus Charles Martin on pay-per-view. They're going to put Mario Barrios versus Keith Thurman on pay-per-view. They put Gervonta Davis versus Isaac Cruz on pay-per-view. They've been doing everything on pay-per-view. And you mean to tell me we get all these pay-per-views that we really didn't care for, we really didn't want, pay-per-views that were so bad and so atrocious that they won't even release the damn numbers for Gervonta Davis versus Isaac Cruz and what they actually did, you know? All of a sudden, you know, back in the day, like 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, they used to release pay-per-view numbers all the time. But because there's so many bad pay-per-view numbers, now all of a sudden they want to be secret. They want to try to say, oh, you can't do that. No, it's because it's not doing well. Because I know for a damn fact, when the Canelo Plant fight happened, we didn't get an exact figure, but we were told that it did around 800,000 buys. Now, I don't really believe that, but that was released almost instantaneously, because whatever the success PBC had, they were comfortable enough to release a figure. They won't even release figures for some of these fights because they're not being supported by the masses. So it makes no sense, because how could you say that how could you say that both fighters aren't going to get what they want if you're not even privy to the numbers that are being offered in negotiations, if there is any negotiations in the first place? Then he tries to make this roundabout explanation that, oh, well, you know, Terence Crawford's a proud champion, and you don't want to disrespect a proud champion like that. Come on, man. Come on. Let's be real. He also said that he hasn't been built into a pay-per-view star, but how many people on PBC have been built as pay-per-view stars? Gervonta Davis is not a pay-per-view star. Errol Spence Jr. is not really a pay-per-view star. And when I say pay-per-view stars, I'm not talking about, because this boxing pay-per-view has it's in a bad place because there's not many stars in boxing right now, true stars with true value. So what winds up happening is boxing always likes to grade these pay-per-view numbers on a curve. Well, they'll say like, oh, well, you know, Errol Spence Jr. fought Mikey Garcia when there was college football on and horse racing and NASCAR and baseball and the NFL playoffs, and they did 100,000 buys. So that's good despite all the competition we had. No, absolutely not, because pay-per-view fights are supposed to be used for mega fights that people care about, fights that the consumers, us, the boxing fans, would be happy to fork our money over to. That's pay-per-view is for. But because PBC is losing a lot of money, they're having to overcompensate and recoup some of that money by putting everything on pay-per-view, you know, and that's what it is. But the one pay-per-view that boxing fans want, and the one fight in the welterweight division that people actually want to see, you don't want to give it to them because of Crawford's past promotional history and assumptions. Come on, man. Let's just be real. Let's just be real, Tim Smith. Let's be real, PBC. You don't want Terence Crawford to fight Errol Spence because it's already a foregone conclusion what's going to happen if they fight. Anybody who knows boxing knows if them two get in the ring, it is a foregone conclusion of what's going to happen when they fight. And it's going to be Terence Crawford beating down Errol Spence Jr. You know that. Tim Smith knows that. Al Heyman knows that. The whole world, anybody who knows boxing knows that. And that's why there continues to be this delay. That's why there continues to be these excuses. I mean, it's ridiculous how much the roadblocks keep getting moved. First it was get a belt. Now, I'm talking about the Spence. First it was get a belt. Then it was first get a belt, then it was come to my side of the street. Now he don't want to fight him. Now you got Tim Smith putting out false narratives and bullshit lies like this when he's not even privy to the negotiation info, if there even is any negotiation to begin with. You know, it's ridiculous, man. And these are the guys, man. Like, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody because I respect everybody who works in the boxing industry. You know, it's a tough, whether you're a promoter, boxer, manager, YouTuber, you know, being in boxing is tough. It really is tough. So I respect anybody who decides to make boxing in any capacity their line of work. But shit like this is what turns people off, and it really, you know, frustrates people because this is not a fight that needs to be marinated any longer. It's to a point where people are getting disinterested in the fight, and people would rather it not even happen because of all the lies and all the bullshit, you know. So I wanted to touch on that. Tim Smith telling lies. Tim Smith, you know, is a guy that, you know, I know a little bit about his history. I mean, I know he used to be a boxing writer back in the day. He got his job at PBC because he pretty much stuck up for Floyd Mayweather and was kissing up to Floyd Mayweather at all costs when all the Pacquiao stuff was going on. And it is what it is, man. Listen, I like Floyd Mayweather, but you know, that's how he got his job. Get it how you live. I'm not gonna criticize anybody who got to their position, but you know, we call it how it is here on True School Sports. This is the home of boxing. There's nobody sticking a key in my back telling me what I can and can't say. So we're gonna say what we want to say. Tim Smith, you are making excuses, and you exposed yourself, and you really exposed PBC not wanting to make the fight happen, straight up. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of things going on now between Errol Spence being too much of a coward to fight Crawford, between, you know, Tim Smith making excuses, trying to put out false narratives to feed the Spence fanboys, to now the Terence Crawford Bob Arum lawsuit for racial bias and breach of contract. I mean, this fight, I'm telling you guys this, I truthfully don't think this fight is ever going to happen. It is a pipe dream, and it might as well just be one of the many fantasy fights we talk about in boxing. This fight happening is as realistic as Muhammad Ali versus Riddick Bowe in their prime happening. That's where we're at. So I'm gonna leave it at that. You guys let me know what you think about Tim Smith's ridiculous explanations of why Terence Crawford and Errol Spence won't fight because of economics, and they're saying that, you know, the fans won't support the fight. But did the fans support Luis Ortiz versus Charles Martin? I can answer that question for you. No, they did not, because it was easy as hell to get free tickets. I mean, I got 2 free tickets to that fight. And then I also got an additional other 2 free tickets to that fight. Getting free tickets to that Luis Ortiz versus Charles Martin fight was easy as hell, and it was a pay-per-view fight for heavyweights. So you can put that fight on, but you can't put on Crawford versus Spence, the one pay-per-view that we actually want to see. Miss me and miss all of the thousands of untouchable True School Sports subscribers with all that bullshit, because we're not hearing it in 2022. Take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on True School Sports, the home of boxing. If you made it this far, do me a favor and do yourself a damn favor. Hit that subscribe button, and surely you will not be disappointed True School Sports bringing you the latest and greatest, the untouchable, boxing content, interviews, news videos, breakdowns, live fight reaction extravaganza. We've got a great community of people here, boxing fans all over the world, from America to the UK to Australia, and on and on and on. So join the empire today. Hit that subscribe button. Take care and God bless.